20 Accidental Murder Stories. According to Reddit, number 20. When I was 12, I went to visit my father's family in his home country. We were having a barbecue at his uncle's house when his cat goes over to me and starts meowing and asking for food. Before I could do anything, the uncle's wife comes up and kicks the cat with all her strength to send it away. I had never wished for someone to die that badly, especially after I found out the cat had just had babies less than 2 days before. A week after that, she died in a horrible car crash, and my dad told me that it was my fault for wishing that she would die already. Well, maybe karma killed her. You know what I'm talking about? Jesus Lord. Some people ain't playing. You just wanna kick a cat up the ass, my girl. So that's a pretty strong start. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she deserved it. Who knows? Number 19. Well, it might be a little late for this thread, but it's the first time something on Reddit actually applies to me. Let's get to it, buddy. Even more so than most other replies that I've... Okay. Unlike most of the other replies, oh my god, I thought I was a pretty good driver. I thought I knew how to control my car well. It was a dry road with a corner that I've driven around maybe 100+ times. It was the middle of the night with no cars on the road except for mine. The conditions were great. I wasn't trying to drive fast, but I wasn't fully paying attention to what I was doing, and I went a little too wide on the outside of the corner, lost control, skid across the road and spun around in the ditch, then bounced back onto the road. Sometime during all of this, the guy that I had just met, who was previously in the backseat of my car, found his way across the road and a good 20 to 30 meters into a field. It broke his neck in 3 places and gave him a bunch of injuries. You just met this dude. Talk about crazy taxi. That's not a cool thing to say. He had a swollen brain, which doctors were hoping he would recover from, but unfortunately, about a month after the crash, he passed away. So a 27-year-old father of 5 is dead because of a mistake. I don't often want to reread something, and forgive me for dismissing this guy in a way where I'm concentrating more on my delivery so that I can read it in a way that you guys understand, and less on retaining or comprehending anything that I'm reading. But I actually have to go back because I kind of was just rolling my eyes and not listening to this asshole because, get to the fucking point. You know what I mean? I'm not like your other YouTubers that are just trying to fluff up this video and make it 3 hours long so that I can get whatever juicy, stupid revenue that maybe other people get. But my point is, if I were talking to you and relaying an anecdote of something that happened in my life, I wouldn't use the force in lengthening my fucking reply to make it last an hour. So yeah, he kind of lost me paying attention to him. He says that it was a dry road and he took a corner. Okay. Oh boy. Here's the bottom line, man. Dude in the back could have been wearing a seatbelt. I don't think that's how we fly out of windows of cars and shit. So I mean, if it's somebody that you just met, you don't know how the fuck they drive, put your damn seatbelt on. Put your damn seatbelt on. It's pretty pathetic. 27-year-old father of 5 is dead because of my mistake. The crash was in February, and since then my life hasn't been too great. You mean the life that you get to keep, as opposed to the guy that died because he chose to get a ride from you and died? Cool. Go tell those 5 kids how my life's just not that great. I was diagnosed with depression the week before the crash. Okay, buddy. I think we've read enough of your posts. Number 18. For 20. Yeah, I don't do that a lot. Yeah, shut up. Number 18. Some people. This was going to turn into a post about how depressed he was. I got depression. You were the driver when a father who trusted you to not be a fuckbag. Yes, he should have buckled his seatbelt.
Yes.
But there's not just one wrong party here.
Yeah, no, I
And again, the fact that this person was gonna make this about them in the way that it's a good life. Oh, and look how long-winded he is about everything. I hope the guilt kills him. Not like physically kills him, but maybe figuratively, maybe like emotionally. If I'm wrong for that in the stream, chat, tell me that I'm wrong, you know what I mean? But if you kind of agree with where I'm coming from, then maybe just type a 1. You know, type 1, you know, come on. Hannah's shaking my head at me because she saw.
Your head at you?
Wait, yeah, she's shaking my head at me. Wow, she's possessing me. Number 18. For 25 years, I believed I killed my grandma. I was 15 at the time and staying with my grandma who had asthma. Shut up, Kale. She wakes me up in the morning and had a hard time breathing. She tells me to put some medicine in a respirator machine to help her breathe. I was pretty scared at that point and didn't know how many drops that I should put in. My grandmother uses a machine that, and after not sure how... Okay, I understand what they mean to say. My grandmother uses the machine, and after a while, I'm not sure how long, she falls backwards onto the bed and isn't breathing. I ran out of the house to get help at the neighbors, and they take over. I do remember the paramedics performing CPR, but it was too late. I shoved all the fear, pain, and sadness away inside of me and closed myself off from feeling anything, making me distant and numb to my parents, trying to help. It was 25 years later, 1 year ago, and I started talking with my wife about this and realized that my back pain started around that time. Is this all about y'all? Jesus Christ, did you or did you not screw up the dosage and it killed your grandma? Because you probably did. There are some things that happen where people blame themselves when they're really not to blame. And here's what I'll say. There's a technical application here where maybe the kid did screw up the dosage and kill his grandma. But on the other side of that coin, maybe it shouldn't be a kid's job. You know what I'm talking about? Maybe it shouldn't be no 15-year-old's job to fucking dose out how much needs to be in anything, okay? Some kids grow up fast, yes. Some kids are capable of some shit, yes, but they still kids. 15 years old, get the fuck out of here with all that. You killed a woman out here. You killed a woman. 25 years later, 25 years later, I start talking with my wife about this and realize that the back pain started around this time, maybe half a year or a year later. When talking and in therapy, I managed to solve that trauma and am almost completely pain-free. It seems traumas like that put lots of stress on muscles and cause them to tense up, causing physical pain. Bruh. Number 17. When I was 16, I was going home from work late at night and needed to swing by the gas station. I was getting ready to make a left turn into the station and waited for a few motorcycles to pass, and I looked down to the road to clear the turn and saw a single light from a motorcycle about a mile away. So I went ahead and made the turn. About halfway through the turn, I thought I saw the light getting brighter and noticed the guy was maybe 3 feet away from my car. That's when time began to slow down as I stomped on the gas to try to get out of the way. It was unfortunately too late, as his body hit the side of the car completely, shoving to the side. Hey, look, man, some people riding motorcycles just want to die, so I don't know whose fault that really is. You know what I'm talking about? I got out, he just laid crushed in the street. The gas station was very busy, so a crowd immediately formed around the man and the cops, and the ambulance came. He died a few hours later in the hospital. After the accident, I just sat on the side of the road thinking, well, I'm going to prison. I just killed a dude. Very much in shock, and a bystander came up to me and said, "Did you see what you did? Go see what you did." I wasn't really responsive. You like that?
Listen, what the fuck? What an asshole.
Yeah. Did you see what you did?
Go see what you did.
Go see what you did. Bad dog. Oh my God. I wasn't really responsive at the time. After detectives came and talked to people, I found out the guy was going well over 150 miles per hour on a bike trying to catch up to his friends. Yeah, I hope his ghost caught up to them. Oh, guys, slow down. It killed me. That's not funny. But if you ride a motorcycle and you listening to this, come the fuck on, man. 150 miles per hour, bitch, you ain't invincible. A rock could kill you at that. Like a bird shit could end your life. You know what I'm talking about? Wow. Wow. Well. If it isn't the Linda, the Rhea, the Sedasia, and let me scroll up just so I can have one more. And the Jesus. He said one, but I put Juan trying to be funny, but it failed. Oh no. I only got 2 ones. That's messed up. Nobody agrees with me. That's messed up. Okay. I wasn't really responsive at the time. Jesus Christ. It turns out that if he stayed on his bike, he would have missed me completely. He tried to jump off. He ditched his bike. And only his body hit my car. Wow. I was bothered for some time, but have come to accept that this crazy shit happens, and you just have to carry on. My wayward son. Here's hoping everybody in the stream chat's having a wonderful evening. You know, I believe in you. You believe in yourselves. I hope that your day ends in a great way, and I hope that your day tomorrow is a day you can mess up even more. 16's deleted, but I've recovered it. So it reads, I believe for a long time that it was my fault that my grandmother died of cancer. When I was 6 years old, I asked my grandparents if we could go for ice cream. When we came back, my grandmother was the last to get inside. As she walked up the 5 stairs of the first floor, or up to the first floor, she fell back and broke her ankle. When she went to the hospital to get treated, she was diagnosed with various cancers in her body. At that age, I did not understand very well, and the way my family explained it to me made it more confusing. I ended up thinking that because we went for ice cream that day that I killed her. I seriously thought her cancer was provoked by me until I became 16. I believed it. Well, you didn't really kill her then, buddy. What the fuck? What the fuck ice cream got to do? But on that fateful day, let's go for ice cream. And then there's all like these echoey voices. I'm so sorry. So we continue up this list, man. Number 15. I was driving a friend on a dirt path and lost control of the vehicle. It flipped 6 times. It was fine except a pinch in my back, or I was fine except a pinch in my back and glass on my hands. He died instantly. I was caught in the bitterness for a long time. It was so unfair. Not that he died, but that I was fine. I was unhurt. I called his family and told them what happened. I only got their voicemail. Wonder if I should pay that other one. Yeah. What the hell? Yeah. I was caught in the bitterness for a long time. It was so unfair. Not that he died, but that I was fine. Tony Stark. I was unhurt. I called his family and told them what happened. I only got their voicemail, which was easier, and I was grateful for it. His mother called me back and told me to forgive myself. She forgave me instantly. I still struggle to do that sometimes. All of it was hard. Everything went as good for me as it could possibly have gone. But it was, and is, still hard to forgive myself. It's been nearly 2 years, but I still remember it vividly every time I drive. Every time I drive. For those of you who may be late, you only have 14 more entries on the list of 20 accidental murder stories. Oh yeah. You guys don't know him, but somebody named Shakir is the stream boss now. Just kidding, it's Bakir. Uh-oh. I never saw him before last night. He just came in here and just rocked the house. He took stream boss clean away from you guys. You know, he's the one who gets to decide what the new transparent GIF is, but you know, I haven't seen him, so we can't figure it out. Let's continue. Number 14. Oh my god. I was in a traffic accident. Ahead of me was a green light and wanted to make a right turn. This happened in Australia. We drive on the left, so a right turn goes across a lane. I was approaching a turn, and just before I entered the intersection, the green turning arrow went yellow. I saw no oncoming traffic. There were cars stopped on the other side of the intersection at a red light. Just as I'm about to exit the intersection, completing the turn, there is a collision. The car is pushed or spun. The windscreen cracks completely, so I can't see through it. I'm not sure what's happened, but I know that I've hit something. My girlfriend was in the front passenger seat on the side of the impact. She was crying, and I didn't know at the time if she was injured. I was unharmed, save for very small cuts from broken glass. The front of the car was falling apart. There was smoke coming out of the dashboard. People ran. People ran over and pried open the doors and ushered us out of the car. Only when I was out did I see what I had hit. It was a motorbike. The rider had been speeding and entered the intersection on a red light. His motorbike was some 10 meters away, and he was on the ground. Several people had ran over to him, while others were trying to get to me and my girlfriend to get us out of the car. I asked someone by my car if he was right. He replied, "Nah, mate. He's dead." Yeah. That wasn't helpful at all, but thanks. An ambulance quickly arrives and the paramedics went to work on him. Meanwhile, a lady helped me and my girlfriend off of the road, tried to help us stay calm. She held and hugged my girlfriend, who had said nothing so far, just been crying. The police arrived, started asking preliminary questions, while the cyclist was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance. We were not far from my girlfriend's house. The lady called her parents and they were on the scene rather quickly. Her mom already didn't like me, but her dad was alright. After checking on her, he checked on me. He was quite calm, and he rang my parents to let them know what happened. Eventually, a policeman took me to the station for me to give my statement. Tried my best to stay calm, to relay what happened, but I had to guess a lot of the exact distances involved. They were understanding, helped me to complete the statement. Then I was taken into another room where I waited for a while for a nurse to come. They needed a blood sample. Standard procedure, apparently. My parents had been told where I was taken to, and the policeman brought them into the room and told me that the paramedics and the doctors were not able to resuscitate the rider, and he died in the hospital. I went home that day. Based on my statement and the statement of several witnesses to the accident, the police's initial assessment was that the cyclist was more responsible for the accident than I was. That helped. Eventually, the police report was finished and the insurance company refunded the excess since I was not being held at fault. For a week or two, I would constantly replay the accident in my head and wonder if there was anything that I could have done differently. Was I distracted, talking to my girlfriend? Did I not look far enough ahead when checking for oncoming traffic? Could I have stopped in time as soon as the light went yellow? I wasn't sure if I could have done anything differently, but the thought was still on my mind. I tried to think about the accident as little as possible, and while I didn't think I was to blame, it still was troubling to think that if I had not been there making that turn, that man would still be alive. I know nothing about him. I don't know what family he had, how old he was, what he did for work or with his free time. I never heard that from his family, suing for damages or anything like that. Thankfully, I was able to put it out of my mind once the police report was finished months later. During that time, I didn't experience distressing flashbacks or nightmares, but I was quieter than normal. But now it's not something I think about much at all. I do have other problems now, namely depression and chronic fatigue. Tell me about it. One evening I was happy and normal, and the next morning I'd felt so exhausted. I couldn't get out of bed myself. After a month or so of severe fatigue, my mood dropped as well. There was no apparent trigger that caused this, but some medical professionals have thought that perhaps the accident subconsciously played a part. Though that hasn't been properly explored yet, so at this point it's hard to say how it has impacted my life in the long term. I've started killing again. This time deliberately. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to make it more interesting. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. That part was not a part of it. I think my girlfriend blamed me for a while. She would bring it up in conversation casually, not angrily, but would use words like, "You were the one driving," or "if you hadn't." It hurt to hear, but she eventually stopped bringing it up. A woman stopped bringing something up? Especially something as gnarly as fucking accidentally killing a dude by taking a turn when he ran into your vehicle? Damn, ho. You really playing hardball out here, huh? Well, I didn't kill a man. What the fuck? What the fuck, Becky? And after the police report was finished, I think she accepted that I wasn't to blame. Please, women accepting things. We sort of ignored it and went on with our lives. After I fell into depression, I started to become apathetic about almost everything, including that relationship. We eventually split up amicably. I think that we weren't right for each other and would have parted ways eventually. But depression brought issues to light that I didn't have the energy or desire to fight or fix, and she grew tired of feeling like the only one trying. If the accident did trigger my depression and chronic fatigue in some delayed fashion, then it's impacted me a lot. It brought an end to a relationship. It pulled me out of university. I'm no longer active at my church, and I don't see my friends much at all. I'm not driving anymore, and haven't in a while. Partly because I don't need to at the moment, and partly because in my fatigued state, I don't think it would be safe. I might not react as quickly as I would need to, or would if I were healthy. Maybe this wouldn't have troubled me if the accident never occurred. It feels like my life is on pause at the moment. Not making progress towards any goals that I had for my life, but I don't know for certain that the accident did trigger this response from my body months later, excluding any potential cause for major blah, blah, blah. Jesus Christ. Oh my God, we get it. This guy's all like, please obey lights and please don't speed. Bitch, can Kyle give y'all some real information right now? If it's your day, then it's your day. You know what I'm talking about? I don't believe in like fate or hardcore, you know, set in stone type destiny bullshit, but baby, accidents happen every...
Me pregunto si esto leí en español.
Me pregunto. Okay. Well, we thank J-Rod for this $3.50 donation, and I hope nothing accidental comes for him tonight in the $3.50 department.
What's $3.50?
$3.50.
$3.50. $3.50.
Accidents happen every day. And it's time for number 13. Lucky. Number 13 balls. Yeah. You know, I'm not sure if it counts, but one friend was showing signs of suicidal tendencies. She was growing distant, her smile didn't fully reach her eyes. Her laughter sounds muffled. One day she gave me all of her art supplies. At the time I failed to see that this was a sign of suicidal thoughts. I was just another dumb kid excited to get free stuff. One night I was severely paranoid. An intense fear gripped my heart, but I didn't know why, so I thought it was my anxiety acting up. With that in mind, I went to sleep. That night she called me 5 times. She called 5 times for help, but I didn't answer. I was asleep. I woke up that morning only to find out that she had shot herself. It wouldn't have happened had I seen the signs. Had I been awake. Damn, baby.
Love you, Purple Heart.
I love you too, Rhea. I grant you the Purple Heart. You know. You could say that sometimes a penis looks like an upside down heart, right? And that... Okay, never mind. As we continue up this list of totally above board and safe for YouTube accidental murder stories, oh my god, there's been a murder. We reach number 12. You know what this story should have tons more of? I'm a doctor. And I was gonna do it, but I was like, man. And then, oh my god, oh, they're dead.
My mom had a patient who would beg them to kill him.
Wait, what?
My mom had a patient who would beg them, like her and the other residents and whatever, to kill him. They just didn't treat him because he wanted them to kill him.
Oh
Said
my.
it was really hard.
Look, man.
They couldn't actually kill him legally.
Y'all can't
But
kill.
they could not treat him.
It's not legal. On the list of 20 accidental murder stories, we are at number 12. I am a surgical resident in the United States, and I lost a patient that I know was my fault. I can't go into much detail due to patient privacy, but I can say she was a young woman with a husband and young kids who was in for routine weight loss surgery. She had a complication the day after surgery, but I was on hour 36 of a long weekend call, and I missed it when I checked on her. She coded and died. We managed to get her to the operating room and reoperate, but she languished for weeks in the SICU. We eventually had to withdraw care, and I'll never forget the heartbreak in her husband's eyes. He told me he forgave me, but I never forgave myself. After all, she was having the surgery to keep up with her young kids, and I took that from them. Why can't people just take breaks if they tired? You know? What the fuck? Just stop. Just take the breaks. Instead, they showing them the breaks. These are the breaks. Them's the breaks. Dia would like that, because Dia's easy to We eventually had to withdraw care, because there are 2 types of breaks. There's BREAKS, where you're taking a break because you're tired, and then them's the breaks applies. Okay. We eventually had to withdraw care, and I'll never forget. Whoa, I read that already. I had a head injury that took me out of the work for a few months earlier in the year, and those 2 traumas combined sent me on a deep spiral. I started drinking and doing terrible work. I couldn't sleep, and I had nightmares. I developed a deep anxiety and depression, and I ended up losing my fiance of 4 years, as well as most recently my job. It's been 2.5 years, and my depression just lost me and my current girlfriend, or just lost me my current girlfriend. I started counseling this weekend to recover, and I'm hopefully going to be able to salvage my career, and I already feel better. I guess to answer the question, the death has destroyed my life, but I'm determined to pick up the pieces and not let it destroy my future. Yup. For those who, like me, may be thinking, damn, these people are really getting into it as it pertains to how they feel after it, the question specifically on Reddit asks, Redditors who accidentally killed somebody, how has it impacted your life? So that's why after they're just like, I'm so depressed, you know what I mean? But, I don't know, man. Especially in a job in the medical field, you figure that it's going to come with the territory, but nobody knows yourself better than you. So if you know that you could have like stopped and taken the time, you know, to rest, and maybe if you came back at it when you were, you know, well rested, that things might surely have gone differently, then holy shit. I love you all. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Kotala says, hey. Obsidian Jacob says, Kyle, I like the thumbnail and how you got it to work. Wait. Why do you say how I got it to work? That's the really confusing part.
There's a line.
Don't worry about that line. You know?
I mean, is that what he's referring to?
No, don't worry about it. I want to know what he means by how I got it to work. Okay. Yeah. We'll get into that later. It's a strange thing that Obsidian Jacob said. Because it was an interesting solution to a problem I had with that thumbnail, but we won't go into it right now. You know? Well, my whole life's a puzzle game, really. Number 11. I've posted this before, but when I was 18, I was in a car accident. I was living on my own, driving home after a busy day, and I was driving home at around 11 p.m. on a Friday night on the road, which was 55 miles per hour. Why are you reading so fast, Kyle? I may be doing 60, and I was going around about in a car and stop sign, and I T-boned him. I T-boned him. That's what I did. Wow. My car flipped. Sorry. I was driving home around 11 p.m. on a Friday night, and I'm going 55 miles per hour. No, I mean, that's supposed to be the limit. So maybe I'm going 60 miles an hour? And as I'm going around the bend, a car ran the stop sign on the left, and I T-boned him. My car flips over. I land on my hood. I had damaged his car pretty bad. I don't think he was killed instantly, but he didn't live to see the ambulance. I was sleep deprived, but I had fallen asleep at the wheel. Why the fuck you write that then? Why would you write I hadn't fallen asleep at the wheel? Just don't write it. I'm so fucking, what the fuck? Because my brain is autocorrecting the aids that people are writing all the time. What the fuck you mean I hadn't fallen asleep at the wheel? Who says that?
I don't know. I didn't write it.
Ugh. I was sleep deprived, but I hadn't fallen asleep at the wheel. Yeah, okay. I wasn't drinking. I went to the hospital with nothing but a fat lip. Okay. I'm sorry, stream. Fuck. I'm sorry. Okay. The family of the driver tried to sue me for speeding and reckless driving. Luckily, my insurance told them to buzz off. What kind of guy are you? After the fact, I learned that he hadn't been wearing his seatbelt during the crash, and his car should not have passed inspection. How do you figure that out after? I didn't learn that he had died until the next day. I have a little more anxiety driving now, but I'm not really affected by it anymore. I don't blame myself for anything. It was a tough thing to go through, but I actually learned a lot about myself from the experience. Bonus. Accident pics. Oh my god. Oh my god, the carnage. The carnage, guys. The carnage. This automatically makes me cringe.
I hate you.
Automatically, you know what I mean? Oh, man. Look at that asphalt. As long as he knows it's not his fault. Okay? The axe.
I want to smack you. God.
Alright. I wonder if he could afford to replace. Like the video. So number 20, number 10 on the list of 20 accidental. How did we take this long to get through 10? Man, I really got to pick up the pace. If it takes me 35 minutes to get through 10 entries, some of them are life stories, though. Let's be real. Where's that chick when she's always missing the good stuff? You know what I mean? So I'm so baller. I'm so fucking baller. She must be here, right? And just not saying anything. And then towards the end of the list, she's gonna be all like, "Hi, everybody. Just stepping back." Number 10. I had a detainee who neglected to mention a peanut allergy. When he got his halal meal, he only ate the peanuts. Went into anaphylaxis, and the MPs called me the medic. I popped him with the EPI and loaded in some IV Benadryl. It goes from dude might die without attention to me slicing open his trachea to get air into his lungs. Still a no-go. Apparently he was highly allergic to Benadryl, which I pumped straight into his heart. Oh my God. I think about it occasionally, but it doesn't really bother me. He might have wanted to have a minor reaction to go to the hospital, or might have been trying to off himself. Either way, dude made bomb vests in the XS variety, so I don't lose sleep over it. Yeah. Fuck the guy. Give me a second. Did somebody say suicide by peanuts? Okay, I'm sorry. I should be ashamed of myself as we continue the list of... Somebody's going to die on this stream and then I'll be an accidental murderer. The list of 20 accidental murder stories according to Reddit balls. Number 9. Throwaway, because I don't want this getting linked to my main account. Good for you. Jesus Christ. I used to be an airline pilot for a relatively large regional airline. Because I didn't make much money doing it, I worked as a flight instructor on my days off from the airline. One day a student of mine and I were practicing some maneuvers over an area with a lot of trees. I'll show you guys my maneuvers. Thank you, Ria. You know, I appreciate that. Peanuts are the real killer here. I wonder how that's going to show up in the super chat, you know? I don't think it's going to...
Peanuts gun.
Peanuts gun. Hey, okay. Well, it just showed up right. Those are some thick outlined emoji. Damn, she put some stuff out of the tip jar. Damn. Hot shit, Ria. You know I love it. And I love you. Thank you. As we were finishing up and about to go back to the airport, our engine started acting weird. It was a bit rough, and we lost RPM. No big deal, I thought. I figured that we were just running the mixture too lean, so I enriched it and had no improvement. I started heading towards a field that we passed a couple of miles back. It was big, but it was our best shot if things got worse, as the airport was something like 15 miles away. The engine got worse. I was having trouble maintaining altitude, and I radioed in a mayday call with our position. Eventually, the engine died completely. I tried to restart, but nothing worked. As we were lining up our final approach, we made sure the airplane was secured and all that. Turns out the field was a lot smaller than I thought. We touched down and it was extremely rough. I had a lot of pressure on the brakes, trying to not lock them. The trees were coming up fast and I decided we were not going to stop, so I tried to get the airplane back on its front wheels and slam the brakes to make it flip, so we would at least stop. I thought about it too late and we smashed straight into a big tree. I can't remember very clearly getting out, but I do remember seeing my student in the front seat, slouched over with his head to the side. I tried to yell for him to get out and realized that his eyes were wide open. Oh my God. The local police arrived within minutes of us touching down, and later they said that they saw us coming in.
I listen to you every day at work. Feel the love.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate you, Stephanie Brown. And I'm also coming to terms with the fact that the font is weird with the super chats. Let's see if that's something that I can fuck around with. Alert box, super chats, font settings. I need like a thicker font. Doesn't need to be Open Sans either. That shit's AIDS. Give me like Arial. Why does it need to be weird? Arial. Arial. Just type it in. A rapey? What you mean it's not there? What the fuck? Do you have impact? What are these fonts, my dude? What the fuck? What world are we living in anyway? Font size is not the problem. Font weight? This isn't even what it says that it is. What? What? Jesus Christ. This is truly scary for me. You guys have no idea. I don't know. I guess we'll only be able to test it after the next time. I want a fatter... There's a font called Nothing You Can Do. Or Nothing You Could Do. What the fuck are these fonts? You know? Yo, let's try Acme. No, let's try Alice. That sounds awful. I'll test it right now. I don't give a damn. Where's the test button? Test super chat.
This is a test super chat alert for $37. Dude,
it's not even like... Oh my god! That's not funny.
That was funny.
My tip jar. Oh.
That was funny.
Oh, the super chat message settings. Okay, okay, now we're talking. Now we're talking, dude. All right, let's just make it all red. Because I was changing the wrong thing. Font weight. I need the font to be Open Sans. Do we have real font? I guess you don't, man. I guess you don't have real fonts. That's fine. Minimum amount to show. Yeah, there's not a minimum. That can be abused. But it's fine too. Thank you for joining me on this interactive journey of us figuring out what the hell's going on with the font settings on the super chats. As we continue the list of 20 accidental murder stories, we arrive at nothing short of the completion of the I crashed a plane story and killed my student. Oh my god. They got my student out and took me to the hospital and they took my student to the hospital to be looked at and x-rayed because I had back pain in my neck and back, my shoulders, and my crack. They pronounced my student dead at the scene. He snapped his neck on impact. Oh my god. I didn't have any legal action taken against me or anything. The NTSB and FAA said that I did the right thing in that situation. I just wish that I could have gotten the plane flipped over. I feel guilty. His wife blamed me and tried suing me. I have extreme anxiety and don't fly anymore. I wish I could bring myself to, because I truly loved it. I worked construction now because I have always loved building stuff and fixing up my house. I'm 36 years old now and have it on my bucket list to fly one last time. One last time indeed. Holy hell. Holy hell. Oh shit. You know the super chats don't seem to add to the Streamlabs. Why?
Because it's not Streamlabs. It's Superchat.
God damn it. June 19th, 2017. Someone requests that Super Chat donations be added to Streamlabs. It seems that integration of Super Chat still needs to happen. Ooh, so spooky. Who the hell put a plane emoji and then a gun? That's gonna become the thing of the stream. Plane emoji, then gun. Number 8. When I was 17, I hit a guy on a bike on my way home from my girlfriend's house. Seems to be a common theme in this fucking list. It was a foggy night. He was drunk, riding with no lights, and on his bike in the middle of the lane on a dark road. No lights, on bike, at night. You dead. It was super fucked up, and I remember being in complete shock and just immediately calling 911. I had 2 days of my senior year of football starting Monday. After it happened, I still went, but I had a hard time focusing on sports because things seemed unimportant to me after realizing how fleeting life is. Yeah, you little niggas need to wake the fuck up. Everybody needs a little kid. Okay, this is gonna sound really rude, but every young kid needs a friend probably around the high school level that's going to die. So you get it. You know what I'm talking about? So you get it. Life is like that. Gone. You're gone, baby. So fuck around in life. You know what I mean? Spend a lot of time feeling like you have tomorrow guaranteed. You know what the fuck? That stayed with me for a while and led to Xanax abuse, bruh. But I'm all good now. At 22 years old, I've been clean from Xans for a year and I have a good job. Okay. You better stay clean, boy. Stay squeaky clean. Stephanie Brown says, Kyle, I know you have repeated this many times, but I have never set anything up on my new phone. What is the better way to donate? I'm sorry, I can't remember. Well, Streamlabs makes more sense specifically because they don't take a cut. Super Chat does take a cut from you. Which means that, you know, if you wanted all of that money to go towards me, which most people who donate do, you're in for a shack, a static shack that YouTube is taking a small percentage. Somebody provided an interesting perspective, I think it was last night, saying that super chatting helps YouTube give more of a shit about your channel. But let's face it, man, because I'm only in the 20,000 area, you know, I haven't broken 100,000, and I certainly don't have near 500,000. I don't think YouTube's going to be giving anything in the way of a shit because they're pretty much throwing a lot of their big channels under the bus for just being entertaining because they don't, you know, stay in the lanes that they want them to stay in. It's pretty shit, but what can you do? You either have a candy ass channel or you get struck by YouTube. Number 7. It has been 8 years, and I still think about it every single day. I get anxiety when driving at night or in bad weather, or if other people are in the car. I've recently started receiving some therapy, and it's helped a lot, but at this point, I can't imagine not feeling guilty. I was the driver in a car accident in which my best friend died. She was one of the 5 passengers. We were 19, and I was the designated driver after a night out, so I was sober. I was driving my roommate's car, and when getting onto the interstate, I got too close to the rail on the side and overcorrected. I lost control, and the car flipped. Everyone else was relatively unscratched. 2 people received a few stitches, but that's it. This friend, sorry. This friend and another passenger were riding in the very back of the SUV, and the friend had also borrowed my roommate's car a few days earlier, and she had picked up these large cement pieces that are sidewalk inlays that have the names of streets in the city in which we lived. Those giant cement pieces were still in the back where they were sitting. She sustained most of her injuries from the cement blocks. Let me read this again. I know y'all stupid. But sometimes you need a man in a situation like this, man. 6 niggas, 1 car, cement blocks in the back of the car? Does this sound like a car you're jumping in with drunk people? I don't know, man. You know, shit happens. You get where I'm coming from?
Especially if the driver didn't realize they were there.
Okay, the driver doesn't realize that the cement blocks are in the back of the car? How? 6 niggas.
It's an SUV.
It's an SUV. 2 people.
And it's kind of like a trunk behind the last seats. You don't see necessarily. Like, I can see how it would happen. It sucks.
I don't know.
It's stupid.
I don't know.
But I can see how it would happen.
Why they come on, man. Cement blocks ain't good on a car, you know what I mean? You get shit like that. We have bags of mulch in the car right now. And the reason we're not flinching to immediately get those out is because they're just bags of mulch. But if they were cement blocks, that's 1 trip. You get them the fuck out of the car as soon as they get to where they're going.
No, I get it. I agree. I see how, especially if it's a bunch of girls, they wouldn't.
Here's the confusing part, my dude. Like,
they're heavy.
I get, when I was 19 years old, I wasn't on that whole shit. Why does it take stuff like this to, okay. I'm not here to roast people who write in these stories. I mean, they already got enough on their plate. Maybe. But maybe some people need experiences like this to fucking wake they ass the fuck up. A hot slap across the fucking face of your soul because you done fucked up. That's, you know, the person who probably died was the person who deserved this the least. That's the way that it usually goes. You know, drunk person gets into an accident. Drunk person gonna be fine, baby. The drunk person is gonna be fine, typically. So this is pretty sad. Borrowed my roommate's car. She lived to make it to the hospital and her parents were able to get there, but the injuries were so extensive that the doctor said she would be in a vegetative state if they could even save her. Her parents opted out of that option. She would have hated to live like that. I would give anything to go back to that night. I would take a different route home or not join them at all. I miss her a lot. Because here's the thing. Not that we're all thinking Final Destination all the time, but you got one dude in a car and there's a heavy load in the back. What's to stop some asshole being a gingerbread motherfucker in the middle of the street and you having to brake hard? Yeah. Anything could happen. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't like to have anything in the
What you doing rolling around with heavy cargo?
Yeah, I don't like having anything in the cab.
Oh no. You know what it is? And like, here's the thing. Reddit fighting to fucking watch people die to fuck off offline because, oh, some website made an article about a bunch of degenerates getting together and watching people die. But you know how many people I see die on a motorcycle that make me think fucking twice about ever jumping on one on watch people die? You know how many times I see somebody that's driving a big ass truck and something happened in the truck cab just goes straight through the fucking front part? You know what I'm talking? The cab, I mean? Oh my God. Oh my God, baby. And maybe that fear will keep some people alive because a lot of people assume they're untouchable or invincible and they just roll through their guys. 2 guys get into an argument. One shoots the other. Oh my God. Oh my God. Don't do it. Don't do it now. Don't do it now. My God. Number 6. About 5 years ago, I hit an old lady in the street while I was on my motorcycle. I believe she was dead on the scene, but wasn't pronounced dead until the hospital. I wasn't drinking or speeding. She just ran across the street chasing the bus. I'll always remember the instant she turned to look at me before I hit her. It definitely shook me up, and I'm rather sensitive to crossing the street, especially jaywalking or outside of a crosswalk. Every once in a while, I get flashbacks and kind of shudder. Just remembering everything, replaying it over and over. I still live near where it happened and have to drive the street occasionally. I'm always cautious now in areas with lots of pedestrians, watching carefully to make sure no one's crossing, and I think it didn't help at the spot I hit her. I have had cars of people try to cross before. With the bing bong.
Yeah, see, guns don't kill people, cement blocks do. We have to do what it takes to get these horrible assault cement blocks off the streets and out of the hands of our youth.
Assault cement blocks, dude. Like rapid fire cement blocks, you know, jagged edge cement blocks. Normal cement blocks are okay, but why are you sharpening them? This is not a war. You don't need. I'm sorry, it's not okay. Hannah's not impressed by that. But look, I get it, Sinner J. Thank you. I get, come on now, memes, okay. I'm always cautious now in areas with lots of pedestrians, watching carefully to make sure that no one is crossing. I think it didn't help that at the spot that I hit her, I have had cars of people try to cross before, cutting me off. I remember the day that it happened, I was driving slower than I might usually because I was at a trouble spot. There's still that what if I hadn't driven or I saw her before I was crossing. I'll always have that with me, knowing that she died and her kids and grandkids never get to see her again. Knowing that she was just trying to get to work to provide for her family, only to get killed by someone else on his way to work. It sucks. I've never spoken to her family, though. Her son was on the scene that day, and I can't imagine what they went through. Blah, 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 blah. Here's something that just popped into my head. If y'all have grandparents that drive, how do you mentally prepare that one day they gonna reach a point where they need to stop driving, And that's something that it takes a very specific motherfucker to wake up and be like, okay, I realize it within myself I shouldn't be on the road anymore, Some people probably realize that while they're in the car, while an accident is occurring, Pretty terrible stuff. Some of the most upvoted posts on AskReddit, allow me to open them right now, are asking tough questions like, yo, should people over a certain age be forced to take a driving test again? With the way the human body is, like, from day to day, sometimes we're just not capable of some of the shit we were capable of before. I'm going to go ahead and, two of the top posts of all time. How would you feel about a law that requires people over the age of 70 to pass a specialized driving test in order to continue driving? Bing bong. Top post here says, that's a great idea. I'm going to call my 68-year-old congressman and ask him to support such legislation. Oh boy.
I would never, you fucking kids. I get to do, I live forever. I have the money, and I'm going to buy a hot new body to put my soul into. You kids don't believe in souls, but you're not the future. I am.
Okay, that bit's over. Let's go back to the list. Number 5. A very drunk guy tripped off the sidewalk into 5 o'clock traffic right in front of me. Not enough time to stop. He was limp enough that when I hit him with my SUV, he wrapped up on my back right tire. I stopped the SUV, got out, found him wrapped up like a burrito. So many broken bones. Blood everywhere, but his head was resting at 10 o'clock on the tire. He was in the process. Wait, was in the process of reaching to touch him just a few inches away, and I saw him breathe. I started crying. I went up to the sidewalk and went into shock. This motherfucker could have pulled out his phone. After firefighters and cops, ambulances came by, they took the report, and I was taken back to my apartment by a friend. I spent the weekend at their place, and they drove the SUV to my apartment beforehand. But it took over a week for me to be able to drive the SUV again. 2 weeks later, I was told the vehicle was a crime scene, so the cops took it for another day, but deemed that it was not needed. I found out the parents were trying to sue me, but due to the 5 witnesses at the location, they vouched for me. The toxicology reading was 0.25 alcohol level at death, and he had hepatitis C. Ugh. Is that because the blood? Is that okay? I don't know what's hepatitis C isn't okay. No.
I mean, you shouldn't have it. No.
Oh God. One of the firefighters caught that when they were removing him due to all the blood, and the parents did know. Ooh, they mad. Drugs. Ooh. So they dropped the case. I will never drive on the sidewalk side of the road unless it's a one-way or an... Oh my God. Okay. And I still hug towards the interior and tend to swerve if people are on the sidewalk. This occurred 12 years ago. Holy hell. Man, how do I stretch these lists so long? I'm not even trying, man. And this is why I get crazy when they're so long. Rhea says that poor firefighter, that dude got hepa-fucking-titis, dude. Jeez. Ugh. Is there like a disease emoji? Oh, I got a disease emoji right here. Let's see. Hold on. No, wait. Delete that. Where's the gun? I want the gun one. Come on. No way, I put that first and then the gun. Why is the gun so far away? Is it even in here? There's not. There you go. Now we're talking. See? Yeah. You like that? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. As we complete this list, number 4 has been deleted, but I have it over here. So I hope this counts. But I understand if it gets removed. It was removed. When I was 6, I got a full-size Snickers bar while trick-or-treating. My mom was on the front step hanging out with our neighbor, and I remember showing them my chocolate bar and him being impressed that I got a full-size one. He told me it was his favorite, and I really don't like Snickers, so I gave it to him. This is not. No. He acted so excited and said he was going to hide later and eat it so he wouldn't have to share. The next day, Tom was found dead in the bathroom. Oh, what a twist! From complications of type 1 diabetes. When I asked my mom what that meant, she said that it means that he can't have sugar. I genuinely believed for about 6 years that I killed the man. I figured he hid in the bathroom and all the sugar and died, and I felt guilty for 6 years. I had trouble hanging out with his kids. And then when they went to juvenile detention centers, I felt like I personally ruined their lives with a chocolate bar because they were stuck with their batshit crazy mom now. It wasn't until I met a kid with diabetes who kept Yoo-hoos in his desk that I realized that they can and should have sugar. I asked my health teacher about it, and she started to explain that I started to freak out, sobbing and shaking. 12-year-old reaction, so they called my mom, and she came to get me. I just kept trying to tell her that I didn't kill Tom, and she was like, "Sweetie, I know. He was an alcoholic and it killed him. So I didn't actually kill someone, but I believed that I did." What? Why they delete shit like this? Why they delete interesting shit like this? Fucking mods of Reddits are fags, baby. Somebody named Mark is in the stream talking about, my cousin has hepatitis D, Kyle. What? Okay. No. It's not good. Hepatitis don't. Okay. Get it. Yeah. Number 3. Without a doubt, one of the hardest things that I've ever been through. I was driving to meet my mom for dinner near her work after class. It was maybe 7 p.m. I typically take the highway when heading out that way, but it was a nice day, so I decided to take the back roads. Along the way, there was a cyclist path. And there was a cyclist on it, going along, and I noticed him, but he was in the bike lane, which was decently sized. The road was 45 miles per hour, but I had slowed down some as I got closer, and I made sure to get closer to the center line to give him some space. Then, I'm barely a few yards from the guy, he decides to turn directly in front of my car. He didn't make any indication that he would be turning. He didn't do so much as a look. And there wasn't an intersection in the area. But nonetheless, here he was, directly in the path of my car, with barely a few feet separating us. Bing bong. I remember very distinctly everything seeming to slow down. I reflexively slammed onto my brakes as hard as I physically could. I watched in agony as my car screeched towards him. Oh no. Now the super chat didn't make any noise or do anything.
It's too low to pop up.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it was $1.99.
Oh, $1.99 is too low.
Yeah. Because
Well,
you had some people messing with it.
all right, thank you, my man, Jesus. Type 1 is slow sugar, type 2 is high sugar, he says. Oh, my bing bong. But here we go. The last thing I remember is his body coming up onto my windshield, the sound of crunching metal and breaking glass, and blood. Supposedly, I had called the cops hysterically begging for help. When they had arrived, I was on the ground kneeling next to the man, sobbing as he lay face down on the sidewalk, not moving. He was pronounced dead at the scene. After the accident, I was numb. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I was so nauseous, I could barely stand. And in the few moments when I could get myself together, I was forced to have the same conversation over and over with the police, lawyers, detectives on what happened, always pressing for more details. It was torturous and felt never-ending. Months later, after the investigation was concluded, I learned that the cyclist, apart from not wearing a helmet, was a homeless drug addict and was likely high on heroin at the time of the accident. Wow.
Don't worry, everything is working just fine, Purple Heart.
Damn, girl. I guess everything is working just fine, Rhea. If you wanna be somebody. Sorry, I love you. Thank you for that purple heart. You could say that the heart is like an upside down, but that didn't come out until months. It didn't come out all right. It didn't come out until months after it had happened. It had been published in the local papers that a cyclist had been killed in a car accident. It was a big story for the town, and I saw it everywhere online. I know I shouldn't have, but I would read the comments people left in the article, all saying things like the driver was probably texting, it's so unsafe out there for cyclists, other things insinuating that I was at fault. I internalized it. Even though I absolutely am certain that I was paying attention, part of me keeps thinking thoughts that I might have looked down at some point, or perhaps just adjusted the radio and I didn't see his signal, that I missed my opportunity to avoid this. Somehow, maybe it was my fault. For a long time after the accident, I was very far from okay. I was dependent on sleeping pills to get any sleep at all, and my appetite dwindled. Every time I got into the car, I was driving. I felt panicked. Even if I wasn't driving, I felt panicked. A few years later, and after a lot of intensive therapy, and now I'm mostly okay. Still have occasional nightmares, and I can remember the sounds like it was just happening. I haven't fully forgiven myself for it, and I'm not sure if I ever will. But it doesn't stop me from living my day-to-day life anymore. number 2. It wasn't my fault, but I used to drive a wheelchair transport van. A bracket that holds the wheelchairs down failed. The guy tipped over enough to hit his head on a cross brace when I turned a corner. He had a degenerative disease and fragile bones. He ended up in the hospital and never recovered. He passed a few days later. The last I heard, the company that made the brackets ended up changing their design because the accident unveiled a flaw in their design. I think about it a lot because a person died who was in my care. I don't feel guilty about it or anything. There was nothing I could have done differently. Something just broke. It's all a bummer when I think about it, though. Someone responds, I haven't killed anyone, but I still feel guilty. 2 clients I used to care for from a mentally and physically impaired group home died last year. I quit that job a couple of years ago, and I was clearly the only person who took it seriously. I tried so hard to get these 2 clients to be put on a puree diet because they were such choking hazards. One didn't even have teeth. The people who conducted the swallow study said that they were fine, so I watched them like a hound while they ate. Both of them died from choking after I left. I feel so bad. But someone responds very correctly. Sounds like you did everything you could. It's like having a family, guys. All you can do is suggest shit. They got to make their own wrong decisions. Yeah. Well, we've done it. We've reached the end of this list. I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for liking the video. If you haven't, then do that for me. Also comment on the video after it goes up. It screws with YouTube. I love that. Okay? Wow. Now, I want to thank my hotshot sponsors. You know, you guys are so... You're splashing. You're splashing in the pool of my soul, okay? Wow. I want to thank my hardcore patrons. More importantly, I want to thank all of you for joining me right now. I love it when you come. Oh God, that came out wrong. I want to thank J Rod for his donation. I want to thank Synergy for his donation, Rhea, Jesus, and Stephanie Brown. And with that, we come to number 1 on the list of 20 accidental murder stories. Several years ago, I accidentally killed 2 kids. I was driving on the highway and my front right tire exploded. This caused me to lose control of my car. When my car swerved, it went into the opposite lane of traffic, slamming into the rear side of another car. After the accident, I was emotionally destroyed for months. I would never get into a car, not even as a passenger. Anyone would try to coax me into one car, I would have a small breakdown. A week after the accident, the parents of the kids who were also in the car but somehow relatively unharmed invited me to their kid's funeral. I went expecting them to hurl every insult imaginable at me. Possibly the father of the victims would even beat the shit out of me. No matter what they said or did to me, I would have deserved it. But when I got there, the both of them came up to me and immediately hugged me and told me that it wasn't my fault. Here were 2 people whose lives I had essentially ruined, and they were trying to mend any broken heart, or my broken heart, when it should have been the reverse. The moment they said those words to me was like some indescribable pain because I knew I didn't deserve such kindness, especially from them. To this day, I still do not drive, though I do get into cars where other people are driving, though it causes me great anxiety. I also go to therapy weekly, and I've moved from suburbs to the city so I can have and live A daily life that does not require having a personal vehicle, because I just can't ever see myself behind the wheel again. I'll forever regret that day and would gladly give my life if it meant those kids could be alive again. But unfortunately, life isn't ever that fair. Bing bong. Here's hoping you enjoyed that list. Oh boy. You're hurting me. Oh my god. Guy in a stolen Porsche. Okay. Okay. Well, guys, I love you, and just in case I decide to stream later, you know, what game should I play? Should it be Overwatch? Should it be Fortnite? And then I get like a group of you guys together because it's free, and I assume that some of you must have it, you know. I do it on Twitch though, so it could be an all-night stream and I wouldn't bother you guys, you know. I love you to death. Ew. Okay. Ew. How dare you say that? What are you thinking? Look, I'll just go with the first game that I see 3 times. Gears of War. Get the fuck out of here. Chuckster says Overwatch? What the fuck is Gears of War? I'm not playing Gears of War. What? That game's from like fucking a billion years ago. What? Okay, when did Gears of War come out? 2006. Grow up, people. Grow up. I'm not playing any more God of War. I played 4 hours of that in the last day. And none of you were there, in case you're curious. You know what I mean? Ugh. Play more of that game we don't like you watching. I know what you mean. I'm being a comedy man. But like I said, what? So, like, I just want to play a game where I can fight other people, please. As much fun as I have in God of War, like I feel alive when I'm fucking fighting other dudes. So, I guess none of you are gonna be interested in what I go do. Love ya, but I'm gonna go do it. Woo! See you later. Have a great night.